races up again. It's up to 14 out of the past 16 sessions. But our guest today is going to tell you why your country, your central bank, is conspiring to manipulate the market, hurting you in the process. Indeed, you're tuned to AC. I'm Bernie in Hong Kong. Our guest today, Bill Murphy, chairman of GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. We're going to talk to Bill in depth out of Dallas, Texas, about what your central bank, what your government is doing to conspire to keep down the price of your gold and why it could lead to a new financial crisis. Bill, hang on and engage us, especially with Bill Murphy today. He's not easy to nail down, but we got him out of Dallas, Texas today, the Lone Star State. We're at AsiaConf, ASIACONF at Bloomberg.net. Fire away, ping us, and get those questions in for Bill. Bill Murphy, chairman of GATA, Gold Antitrust Action Committee, Dallas, Texas. Sir, how are you today? Very nice to talk to you. It's been a few months. Okay, you heard some words from Geithner there. Do you think Geithner should step down? Do you think he's a source of all these troubles?
Well, that's for somebody else to call. All I can say is that we uncovered 10 years ago that there was a gold cartel, which included the Federal Reserve, U.S. Treasury, bullion banks like Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase, and the Bank of England, among others. And all I can say is that Timothy Geithner came from the Fed, and that's where one of the problem lies here in the United States today.
Bill, we've gone over this before in our previous conversation, but we get new people joining the audience every week, so we need to go over some of the basic tenets of what the good folks at GATA are alleging. Gold is up 14 out of the last 16 sessions. It's been racing away. It broke through 1,000. It broke through 1,100. It's holding very steadily. It's busted past resistance levels. Who on earth could possibly be suppressing gold when you see action like this?
Well, what's happened is that we have a managed retreat. We found out years ago that via lending operations and various gold swap operations that central banks, led by the U.S., were surreptitiously feeding gold into the marketplace and kept the price way under where it should have been a long time ago. But they're hitting the wall with the available central bank gold supply, so the gold price has rallied the last 9 years as we said it would. And it's very exciting now because we are about ready to go into a parabolic stage in which we're liable to get commercial signal failures where a lot of these shorts just can't handle their short positions anymore. A lot of people think gold's in a bubble. It's just the reverse. A lot of people say, well, if it kept pace with inflation, it would be $2,300 an ounce. You hear that all the time on TV today. It's less than half that. And so exactly, until we get up anywhere near those levels, there's no way near this is a bubble.
But those who conspired, who you allege conspired to keep the price of gold down, they're losing their traction. Is that correct? They have so many domestic problems. They have so many internal balance sheet problems. They are losing the battle.
Well, they're losing that because of all those troubles with interest rates at zero and quantitative easing. The demand factor has gone way up. But if they had enough available central bank gold, the price would still be down. What is happening is the central banks like India, China, Russia, Venezuela are all buyers. And the European central banks that could sell, 8 tons a week and 400 tons a year have stopped selling. So all of a sudden the supply that's been used to hold down this price is evaporating. And the gold cartel is in the deepest of trouble.
Okay, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself as this show rolls on. Bill, hang on, out of Dallas, the Lone Star State. We'll return with GATA's Bill Murphy in a second. Bill Murphy, GATA, back with us from Dallas today. My good man, let's go through the basics here. Let's go through the supply and demand. I don't understand what's going on out there with the central banks. The Indians bought a big wad of gold from the IMF the other day, but they love gold. I mean, they use it. They don't just stock it. You know, they don't just store it in Fort Knox or something. They really use it. It's part of the culture. The Russians were going to drop a bomb on the open market, but it was leaked, and then they had to pull that one back. What do we know about where central banks are in this whole math right now?
That's the great mystery, Bernie. Nobody really knows. GATA, through my colleague Chris Powell, went to the IMF and says, what is the status of your gold? Because we were concerned whether they say they have 3,100 tons, whether this gold was double counted or not. And when we went to say about an audit about where the deposited gold is, they wouldn't give us an answer. But what we did find out, the depositories are China, France, England, and India. We found this out months ago. Then the IMF says they're going to drop a bomb, as you would say, of gold of 400 tons they are allowed to sell now. And all of a sudden, India, which is a depository for the gold, takes it. Now, was it gold that they actually bought, or was it leased gold they were getting back? The same thing just happened with Sri Lanka. They had 5.3 tons of gold on their books. All of a sudden, the IMF sells them the same amount. The island of Mauritius, the same thing. Had 1.9 tons on their book, got 2 tons. The question is, are these banks scrambling to get their gold back? And we believe, and that's why we've been right for 9 years in a row, there's a huge short position out there in gold, and it's about to become known and very, very serious, and that's why the price keeps going up.
Why did they do this? Why did they engage in this sort of action at all? Is this within, does this sort of, what you're describing here, Bill, does this fall within the mandate of any central bank around the world?
Great question. This is what we discovered years ago. The central banks are like sheeples. They were all doing the same thing. And the United States, again, as part of this gold price suppression scheme, had a bunch of banks lease out their gold. We're pretty sure that the central banks, well, they're supposed to have 30,000 tons. They have well less than half of that in their vaults. The rest is gone, and they're trying to get it back. And we're not just making this up. I started 1998 with my friend Frank Venerosi. He wrote this gold book about supply-demand. Back then, he discovered that the gold loans were 8,000 tons. It was all part of the strong dollar policy of the U.S. and how they facilitated it.
Well, is that book still relevant today? Looks like an old version there.
Yes. Yes, that's the key, because since then we've had 3 other reports through GATA consultants, Reg Howe, James Turk, and another one by Frank, in which they can use different methodologies to show the central banks had less than half the gold they had. And Frank, who spoke at our conference in Durban, South Africa, said that this was May 10th, 2001, said the central banks would hit the wall in 7 to 10 years, and here we are right in the middle of that time zone, and it's exactly what's happening. The central banks are hitting the wall. They don't have enough available central bank gold to meet a huge 1,000, 1,500-ton supply-demand deficit.
All right, Bill, when we come back, I'm going to talk specifically about why this could lead the world into crisis if central banks find themselves short on the short side of the stick. More with Bill Murphy from GATA in a little bit.